Hello everyone, I'm Frank and welcome to Frank Puzzles, and this is today's hard level difficulty puzzle, and it's called The Reorg by Andrew Sarkis. And here are the rules. We have normal Sudoku rules apply, which means in every cell in the grid, place a single digit from 1 through 9, such that every row, column, and designated 9-cell region contains the digits 1 through 9 exactly once each. We have a toroidal grid where row 1 and column 1 are considered adjacent to row 9 and column 9 respectively. So basically these cells here in row 1 are considered adjacent to these cells in row 9, and these cells in column 1 are considered adjacent to these cells in column 9. These being this being adjacent to that cell, this being adjacent to that cell, this being adjacent to that cell, this also being adjacent to that cell, this being adjacent to that cell, etc., etc. So that's going to be used for purposes of, I guess, reorganizing cells? Maybe. Probably. We also have reorganizer cells, where every row, column, and box contains exactly one reorganizer cell, each with a distinct digit. So there are no repeats within reorganizer cells. Also, no two reorganizer cells can be diagonally adjacent to each other, including via the toroidal connections. So there's also, so for example, you could not have a reorganizer cell be here and then another reorganizer cell be there, because they would be considered touching each other diagonally. And obviously there's only one per row, column, and box. Okay, the value of a reorganizer cell is the same as its digit. However, all cells orthogonally adjacent to a reorganizer cell, including via the toroidal connections, have their values exchanged with the cell directly on the other side of the reorganizer cell. So, for example, if there is a reorganizer cell in row 1, column 4, row 1, column 4, then the value of row 1, column 3 would be the digit that's in row 1, column 5, and vice versa. And the value of row 2, column 4, so these digits would swap values. And then in row 2, column 4 would be the digit in row 9, column 4, right? So these two would swap values, and these two would swap values. So the reorganizer basically swaps the values of the cells it shares an edge with in the same row and in the same column. Okay, very cool. And then we just have killer cages, where values in a cage sum to the indicated total. So values in a cage sum to the indicated total. So that means the value of the, so say there was a reorg here, reorg cell there, then the values of these two cells would be add up to 12. But say we had a 5 here. That would mean the value of the cell is a 7, but that means since we have a reorg cell there, that would mean this would have to be 7, because the value of this cell is the cell that's on the other side of the reorg cell in the same column. So that's an example of how killer cages work. And finally, we have counting cells, where values in a circle indicates the number of circles containing that value. Okay. That means, say there was a value of 3 here. That would mean there would have to be 3 circles containing the value of 3. Obviously, something weird is going on. We'll let you guys figure that out yourselves. Anyways, those are all the rules. If you'd like to play along, there's going to be a link in the description. And now, I'm going to get started. Let's go. Okay, this is interesting. That means we have 9 circles. So that means the values of these circles have to be either 1, 2, 6, 1, 3, 5, or 2, 3, 4. Right? We also have a value of 5 for 4 cells. That's interesting. We have a value of 35 for 4 cells. Those are the ones that stick. Okay, a value of 18 for 2 cells. So this cannot be the reorganizer, right? It would just swap these cells and these cells. Well, yeah. So if there's a reorg cell there, that would swap these and these cells. But then this couldn't obviously be swapped by another reorg, because you can't have a reorg in the same column. And therefore, this would be at maximum 8 and 9, because they would remain in the same box. So this is not going to be a reorg cell. Same with this. If you have a reorg cell here, that just swaps these two, and, well, you could have a reorg cell there. No, but then that would be a minimum of 1, 2, and 3, right? You almost certainly have to have a reorg cell somewhere here. This has to be swapped twice, right? So you can have... To add up to 5 is really small. You cannot just swap once. You have to swap twice. So that means one of these two is reorg, right? Because one of these two has to be reorged. You can't have reorg cells touch each other. So this would not be okay, so you have to reorg twice here, right? Because if you have one of them being swapped only, that would mean, okay. Yeah, if you have one of them swapped, that would mean you still have a value of 1, 2, and 3 here, which doesn't work. So you need to swap 2 here. So that means one of these must be swapping, and one of these must be swapping. So therefore, this cannot be reorg here. None of these can be Is that really the case? Okay, say we had a swapper here. That would swap these two. But then you could not have a swapper here. So then how would you swap these? You can't, right? So you have to have one of these two be swapped and one of these two be swapped. So one of these, okay, so... What are the cells that need to be swapped? This needs to be swapped. One of these two needs to be swapped. So we'll mark them as red for being swapped. And then one of these needs to be swapped and one of these needs to be swapped. The only way that these can be swapped is you have a swapper, you have a reorg there. So this cannot be reorg there. And then you must have a reorg here. So there cannot be a reorg here. So one of these two must be swapped with one of those two. You cannot have... This digit has to be... Oh, you could swap this way, too. Okay, never mind. Hold up. So here you can swap... you can... So this can swap... One of these two have to be swapped. So either there's a reorg here or a reorg here. So the reorg has to be one of those two, which means the rest of the column cannot be reorg. So these cannot be reorgs there. So to swap this, you need swapping that way and swapping that way. One of these four, two out of these four need to be swapped. So since one of these two is a reorg, none of these can be reorg. Let's see. How does this work? Oh, wait. It doesn't have to be swapping this way. You could swap this way. Ooh, okay, never mind. That's not good. Okay, so that's not good for that assumption. Let's figure out the circles. This is confusing. Okay. So again, each of the values have to be 1, 2, and 6, 1, 3, or 5, or 2, 3, and 4. How many can be swapped is kind of the question, right? You have 5 potential reorg cells around here. So say you try to have 1, 2, and 6. I don't think that works. How many swaps would you have to have? Well, okay. 2, 3, and 4 means you would have to swap 6 values, right? Because you have 2, 3, and 4 already available. Actually, I think all of them you have to swap 6 values. So these have to be swapped in value, but they could be swapped this... Oh, they could be swapped this way, too. They could be swapped... This one could be swapped that way, too. Oh, there's a lot of variety of swaps. So I think the circles is the one that's really the key. These both need to be swapped. 2 out of these 4 need to be swapped. 1 out of these needs to be swapped. So you have to have 6 swaps. If you have a swap here... If you have a swapper in one of these cells, it'll swap 1 cell. If you have a swapper in one of these cells, it will swap 1 cell. If you have a swapper in one of these cells, it'll swap 1 cell. If you have a swapper in one of these cells, it'll swap 1 cell. So then you need 1 to swap 2 in the central box, right? Because you need to convert 6 again. 6 of the values have to swap to 1, 2, 6, 1, 3, 5, or 2, 3, 4. And that's going to be a swap. So you have 3, 4, 5, 7, 8, 9 swapping to 2 and 6. 6 5 times, and then 2 once. Or 1, 3, 5, you have 4 digits swapping 3 times. So I think 1, 2, 6 is not... Okay, so that means one of these corners is a swap. So say you have a swapper there. That means none of these can be swappers because you can't have a swapper touching. None of these can be swappers because of swapper in the row. Same with this. Same with this. Same with the column. That means you have to have a swapper here, a swapper here. So there's no swapper there. No swapper here. No swapper here. So then you would have to have swappers in each of these positions. Okay. And it has to be some sort of setting like that then. Because again, you need to swap 6 times in the central box to make sure that the counting circles add up. Right? It adds up to 1, 2, 6, 1, 3, 5, or 2, 3, 4. So the values in this theoretical thing, that means all the swappers for box 2, 4, 6, and 8 are only in the cells that are next to the central box. Okay, so that's actually important to get. That means none of these can be swappers. Here, 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 or here. So none of those can be swappers. Guaranteed. So since this can't be swapper, you could have a swapper there. You could have a swapper there, there, and there. This cannot be a swapper here, which means none of these two can be swapped this way. So I think you have to have a swapper here and then a swapper here. I guess you could have a swapper this way, right? You could have a swapper that way. Though that is kind of confusing if you have a swapper there. If you have a swapper here, that means, well, you could have another swapper situation around here. So if this is if this is swapper, that means none of these can be swapper. So you have swapper here, and then swapper here, and then swapper here, right? So basically the corners are the only way you can swap 6 times in the central box, right? If you just swap here, that only swaps once, and then these cells would just swap with each other, which doesn't help. If you swap here, then that makes this and this, and then swap here and swap here. Same thing, so then it's the same thing either way. So say you have a swapper here. That means you have swapper here, and swapper in these 2 cells. Okay. Either way, the corners could not have a swapper value. What about if you swap here? Then that means these are swappers. You have to have a swapper here. Oh, I guess, no, you could have a swapper in the corner cell. It would be, so in this case, it would be that cell can be swapper. In this case, it would have, oh wait, no, you can't have swapper. Okay. So that, okay, one thing then we know is that the corners cannot have swappers. We have to have 4 swappers in these 3 cells, which means you have a guaranteed swapper here and a guaranteed swapper here, and a guaranteed swapper here and a guaranteed swapper here, which means none of these corner cells can have swappers. Because of that, how do you swap this one? I guess you could swap. This cell cannot be swapped. Well, it could be swapped by that cell. Okay, that's possible. We have a guaranteed swapper here, so none of these cells can be swappers. Oh, interesting. So none of these cells can be swappers because of that. None of these cells could be swappers. None of these cells could be swappers. Huh. This cell can't be a swapper because it would swap these and these, but then these digits would then basically have 1, 2, and 3 at minimum in them. So this could not be a swapper here. Say you had a swapper here. If you had a swapper here, that would swap these two cells and these two cells, but these are in the same box, so therefore this would be 1, 2, and 3 as a possibility. So this cannot be the swapper either, which means one of these two is a swapper, which means this can't be swapper there. So one of these two is a swapper, it swaps 1. That means we need another swapper in one of these two, so I think the swapper has to be there. If the swapper's here, this doesn't get swapped, only one of these two gets swapped here. Right, so this is the swapper, which means this swaps. So these can't be swapped because there's no swapper available around any of them. So this must be swapper, which swaps that and this cell. So this is not swapper. That means this can't be swapper here. Whoops. Blue. One of these two is swapper. None of these can be... one of these two is swapper. This can't be swapper because it's diagonally adjacent to there, so this must be swapper here. So this swaps these two cells. So we have this cell being swapped. That means to get one of these two swapped, you have to have a swapper there, which means this cannot be swapper there. If you had a swapper here, that would eliminate swappers as possibilities here when we know there's a swapper here. So this cannot be swapper here. Which means one of these two is a corner swapper. So either it's here. So that means the other corners cannot have swappers. So none of these could be swappers. We know that for certain. So either this is swapper, which means, so this is swapper, which means one of these two is, this has to be swapper. So then that's swapper, swapper. So these are the positions, swapper and swapper. So this is definitely swapped here. Or this is swapper. So again, if this is swapper, that means these two are swappers and these two are swappers. If this is, okay, so I wanted to show which ones are swapped. That's definitely swapped. So you have swapper here, or reorg, I guess you should be calling them. Reorg here. Or it's reorg here. This sees both of them. That doesn't work. Okay, so this has to be the reorg cells. So this can't be reorg cell here. This is reorg here, so this is not being reorged that way. This is not reorg any of these. So these are the reorg cells. So that swaps these two and these two. This swaps these two. And then these two. This swaps these two. And then these two. Oops. This swaps these two. And then these two. And this swaps these two. And then these two. So these must have a value of 9. So therefore, this is a 9 here, which makes that a 9 there to add up to 18. So these are swapped. Okay, so these are not swapped. That means... These are not swapped, so they have to be 6 through 9. So therefore, this can't be 9, that can't be 6. These aren't swapped, so this is 3, 9, 4, 8, and 5, 7. Because they're not next to a swapper. Oh, this is not a swapper. This is a swapper, so that means this can't be swapper. So one of these two is a swapper here, which means this cannot be swapper in the row here, so this is swapper here. So this is swapped, which means this has to be value swapped. These cannot be swapped. This cannot be swapped. How do I have blue there? That's not blue, this is green. Okay, so these are swappers, which means this has to be swapped with that. And to add up to 35, you have 7, 8, 9, which is 24, plus 9 at minimum if you have one swap. So that's 33 at maximum. So therefore you need two swaps. So this must be swapped also. Okay, also this was not the swapper because that's a swapper. So then this is a swapper, which swaps that and that cell. Okay. So we have all the swapper values. and this is swapped, okay. So then this is swapped here. Let's change the vertical ones. The vertical swapping we're gonna make yellow. Okay, so let's remove the blue. We don't need the blue. So vertical swapping will make yellow. Horizontal will make red. So that makes it clearer. So it's vertical is yellow. So we'll make that yellow. Okay. So, this has to be, well, it could be 2 and 2. So this is 1, 2, or 3 here. This adds up to 14 without any swapping. So it has to be 6, 8 as a pair. Okay. This value is less than 7, so that's 1 through 6. To add up to 10, you have a minimum of... Wait, this has 3 swaps? This does has 3 swaps. Interesting. Let's make it red with blue. And blue will be on the right side. So let's mark all the right side cells. Oh, I missed the swapping here. So this is red here. Okay. All the ones, so this is next to all the greens on the right side. We'll make those blue. Instead of yellow on top, we'll have it be, I don't know, pink, I guess. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. We're missing that one, huh? So it's pink on top and this is yellow. Okay. So this is 9 and 9, which adds up to 18. One of these then has to be a 1. right? Because you can't have... Well, no, you don't have to have that. Huh. This is not swapped, so this is 1 through 4. Right, we're looking at all the cells that have to be not swapped. So this has to be... the values have to be... cannot be 3. So this has to be 1 and 2. So this is 1 and 2 as a pair. And that means this must have a value of 1 and 1. So that means this has to be 1. And this is a pink on top, which means that's 1. So that means this can't be 1. That's 2. That's 1 there. We have to have a 1 in one of these cells. We have to have a 1 in one of these cells. So this is either 3 and 5. Well, you could have a value of 1 or 2 there. Okay. What about this? To add up to 35, I think it has to be 8, 9, 9, and 9. Right, that seems right. So then this is 8, 9 as a pair. This is swapped with that, so this is 9. And this is swapped with this, so that's 9. So then that adds up to 35. 9 eliminates 9 here, so this is 8 and 9. So this cannot be 9. This becomes a 7, 8 pair. Where are the 9s? 9 in column 7 has to be here. So this is 9 in value, which means that's a 9 in value. That's interesting. So yeah, actually we don't care, though, about cells that don't affect any circles or cages. So this we actually don't care about, because this doesn't actually give us anything. So that doesn't tell... oops. That doesn't give us anything because it doesn't go to a cage or doesn't go to a circle. So this we don't care about because it's... well, we do want to show that it actually is affected. This is green. But this doesn't matter here, right? Because we don't care about the values there. Okay. Same with these two. We don't care about the values. Either value there. So for this one, that swaps those two, so we do care about those. We care about that. Swaps into the cage. So both of those matter. This swaps into both cages. That swaps into a cage, so that matters. This swaps into a circle and a cage. This doesn't swap into anything, so that these don't matter. Into circle, that's fine. Into circle, these doesn't matter, though. Into circle and cage, and then this doesn't matter. Into circle and cage, this doesn't matter. Into cage, 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 that's fine. And cage, 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 cage. Okay. So, where are all the 9s? We should have a lot of them. 9 cannot be here. Cannot be here. So 9 is one of these two digits. 9 cannot be here, here, here in box 4, so it has to be here. And this has to be... this can't be 9 here, this can't be 9 here, this can't be 9 here. This must be a 3-9 pair. Which means this cannot have 3 here. 1 has to be one of those 3. Okay. To add up to 8, then, you could have value of 1 through... So this must be 1 through 7 here. But the value of this... So if this is value 1 here, if this is a digit 1 and this is value 1, so this has to be value 1 through 6 to match. Same with this. This can't be 6 because of a 6-8 pair. And this can't be 1 or 6. Aha. Interesting. So the value of these two cells must add up to 7 without 1 or 6 available. So this is 2, 3, 4, 5. This must be value adding up to 12. It cannot have 7, 8, or 9 here, though. So that's 3, 4, 5, and 6. This is value 1 through... It cannot be 6, so it's 1 through 5 there. This is value 1 through 6, 1 through 6, 1 through 6, 1 through 6. No 3 here, no 3 here. 1 cannot be here, 2 cannot be here. So this is value 4, 5, 6 here. So this is the one of the ones that's 4, 5, or 6 that is... Okay, remaining digits in column 1. 2, 3, 4, 5, 7. 2, 3, 4, 5, 7. 2, 3, 4, 5, 7. To add up to 10, you could have 3 1s and a 7. So therefore, and this can't be 3 because of 3, 9 pair in the row. So this has to be no 1. It's 2, 3, 4, 5. No 3. 2, 3, 4, 2, 4, 5, 6, 7. This can't be 1. It's 2, 4, 5, 6, 7. So we have already 2 values here, which can be at minimum 2 and 4. Can you have 2 and 7? The answer is no. Inside the cage. Because 2, 7 plus 1, 1 adds up to 11. You could have 2, 6, though. So none of these values count to the cage. This one is already in it, is not swapped. This is swapped into it, so neither of this could be 7. This can't be 7 swapped into the cage. And it can't be 1. So then this value is at least... So we have guaranteed in box 7, a 7 in one of these two cells here. Because this can't be 7 because it swaps into the 10, which is guaranteed to have 2 and 4 at least here. This can't be 7 because to add up to 7, you can't have a 7 adding up. And this is swapped to there. Hold up. That's not right. That's not right. Okay. Yeah, that's incorrect. So you don't have it. This is swapped to here. I was thinking that this is swapped in the other way, but no. This is swapped here, and this is 2, 4 at least. This is swapped to there, so that doesn't matter. This value is swapped from here, and this is at minimum 3. So this is at minimum 2, 4. This is at minimum 3. That means this has to be 1 here. So this is 1, and these must be the minimum. So this is 3. We have 2, 4 as a pair here, which eliminates 2 and 4 in the rest of the box and row. So one of these values is 2 or 4. That means it cannot be both because 2, 5 add up to 7 and 3, 4 add up to 7. So that means one of these is 2, 4, which does mean that 7 has to be one of these two. Okay, so that's given. This is a value in the box. This is a value in the box. So it has to be 5, 8, or 6, 7 here. Remaining, where is 8 in box 7? Can't be here because of 8 in the column, so 8 has to be here. That means this can't be 8. And this can't be 8, this can't be 5, because they add up to 13, because this is swapped to, this digit is swapped to that for the value. This cannot be 1, 2, or 3, so we have 4, 5, 6, 7 here. So the value of this could be 4 and 4, 5 and 3. So this can't be 5, 6, or 7. It's 1 through 4 there. Right? 4 and 4, 5 and 3, 6 and 2, 7 and 1 are the possibilities. Remaining digits in box 7 are 3, 5, 6, and 7. This can't be 3. These are swapped. We don't care what this value is, though. 1 eliminates 1 from being either of these cells. So this is 2 or 3. That must mean this is value of 1 or 2. Interesting. So since this is a value 1 or 2, the other set has to be one of these cells. So it's either 1, 3, 5 or 2, 3, 4, which means this can't be 6, this can't be 6, this can't be 6, and this can't be 6 to swap in. This has to be, again, 1 through 5 now. 1 can't be here because of 1 in the row. That means to swap out of here has to be 3 or 4. It cannot be 3 because, again, the 1 or 2 is swapping out. Since that's swapping out, that means the other remaining has to add up to 10 here, or 9 here. So it's either 1, 3, 5 or 2, 3, 4. Either way, this is 3, which means this has to be a 4 swapping out. So therefore, this is 4 here to add up to 8. That also eliminates 4 in the column. This can't be 4. To add up to 12 with this, 3 and 9 doesn't work. So this cannot be 9. 5 and 7 works. 6 and 6 works. So this is 4 swapping out, which means it must be 1, 3, and 5 here. So this is 1, 3, 5. That means 1 cannot swap in because 1 is definitely one of the cells in these cells. So that's not 1. Not 1. Oh, this is actually that doesn't change anything there. These are all 1, 3, 5, which eliminates 1 here, so that's 2. 2 and 2 add up to 4. And this can't be 2 anymore. That eliminates 2 from being in the rest of the row. So this cannot be 2, 3 as a pair. It's 1, 4 as a pair, which means that can't be 1 there. You have to have 3 or 5 swapped in, so this can't. This has specifically 3 and 5 swapping in. This cannot be 1 or 2. 3 or 5 swapping in, so this is... Oh, wait, this doesn't matter. 3 or 5, so this is 5. Which eliminates 5 in the rest of the row, and column, and box. 3, 5, swap in, so this is swapped in once. We have 1, 5 in value. This is 6, 7, or 8 to remain in the row. This 5 eliminates 5 here, so this is 6, which means this is 6 and 6 in value. So that's a 6 there. This has to be 7 and 8 then. Okay. Remaining digits in row 1, we have 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. No 2 or 6 here. So 6 is guaranteed to be one of these three. This can't be 2 because of 2 in the column. This can't be 2 because of 2 in the column. No 3 here because 3 in the column. Where is the 4 in row box 9? Cannot be here because of the 2, 4 pair in the box. Can't be here because of these have to add up to 13. So this is 4 here, which eliminates 4 being there. Oh, this must be swapped into, and it can only be 3 or 5. Wait, we have a contradiction. Oh, no. The problem is that this is much higher than 3 or 5. It could be... Right. Yeah, I don't know why. I was putting the green cells as the ones being 1 through 6, and that's not true. It's basically the pink, the blue, the red, or the yellow cells have to be 1 through 6. We don't care about these. That's fine. We have a 3-5 pair. 3-5 pair here in box 2 and in box 6, which eliminates 3-5 in the rest of the box. This can't be 3 or 5, it's 4. That means the remaining digits in box 2 are 1, 2, and 9. This cannot be 1 or 9 because 1 or 9 in the row, so this is 2, which forces this to be a 1-9 pair. Two eliminates 2 here, so these two add up to 7. This can't be 5 then. 4 eliminates 4 here, so that's 2. This cannot be 2 or 4. This 2 eliminates 2 in the rest of the column, so this must be 3 and 4 as a pair, adding up to 7. That eliminates 3 and 4 in the rest of the column, so this is a 5-7 pair, which eliminates 5 and 7 in the rest of the box. So this is 6. This can't be 5, 6, or 7, it's 3. This 6 eliminates 6 here and 6 here, so this can't be 7 to add up to 13 with that cell. Remaining digits of box 1, we have 5, 6, and 7. This can't be 6 because of 6 in the column. This can't be 6 because of 6 in the row. So whereas the 6 in box 1, it's there. This is 3 and 5 swapping in. This to here, this to here. This is 3 and 5 swapping in. This to here and this to here. Which means we already have 3 3s in value now, which means the rest are 5 swapping in. So this is 5. 2 eliminates 2 here, so it's 4 and 2. 5 eliminates 5 here, so it's 7 and 5. 5 eliminates 5 here, so it's 3 and 5. 3 eliminates 3 here, so it's 4 and 3, which makes this a 4. Um, 5 eliminates 5 here, so this becomes a 1-3 pair. That forces this to be 5, which makes that 3 and 5 there. 5 eliminates 5 here, so it's 6. We can't have 6 here. No 6 here. Remaining digits of row 3 are 2, 7, 8. No 2 here. 3 eliminates 3 here, so it's 5, which makes that 3. So this is already adding up to 6 and 5. 11th. That's 3 in the corner. We celebrate because we're getting close to solving this. Okay. Remaining digits of box 6 are 2, 6, 7, 8. And this can't be 2. No 2 or 6 here. This becomes a 7, 8 pair. excuse me. Remaining digit of column 2 is a 3, which makes this one, which makes that 3. That eliminates 1 from being here, eliminates 1 from being here, so that's 9 and 1. 9 eliminates 9 here, so that's 3 and 9. This has to be a 7, 8 pair. 1 eliminates 1 here, so that's 2, which makes this a 1 there. 8 eliminates 8 here, so it's 7 and 8, which eliminates 8 here, so it's 7. This adds up to 13 for these two cells because this is swapped there, so that's 6. 7 eliminates 7 here, so it's 5 and 7. We have a 6, 7, 8 triplet. That forces this to be 1 or 4. That leaves this as a 7 here, so that eliminates 7 in the rest of the row. This 7 eliminates 7 there. This 6 eliminates 6 here. So this is a 2, 8 pair. So remaining digit here is a 5. That means remaining digit here is an 8. So this value right now is 6 and 5 and 8. And I guess 3, right? No, 7. 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay, so that works. 2 cannot be here. Where is the 2 in box 6? It has to be here. So this is 2, which makes this 8, which makes that 7, which makes that 2. 8 eliminates 8 here, so it's 7, which makes this 8, makes that 7. 8 eliminates 8 here, so it's 7 and 8. That leaves this digit as a 6. This can't be 7. Huh. Interesting. Okay. Let's check all the cages. Okay, so this value, let's check the circles. Value of 5, value of 3. So 1, 5, 1, 3, 5, 3, and 1. Value of 3, so that's 3 3s. Value of 5, value of 5, value of 5. That's 5 5s. So the circles are satisfied. The problem is that I don't know how to disambiguate these. Oh, each of these has a different value. That's the reason why. So then we have 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So this can't be 6. This can't be 4. So this is 8, which makes this 6, which makes that 8, which makes that 6. Therefore, this is 1, which makes that 4, which makes that 1. And therefore, that's a 4. But let's just check to make sure the values are right. So this is value 3. This is swapped from there. So 3 and 4 add up to 7. This is swapped from that. So it's 9. This is swapped from that. So that's 9. 9, 9, 8, 9 add up to 35. 7, 8 add up to 15. These swap. So this is value 6. This is value 5. This is swapped with that. 5, 6, 8. And this is swapped with that 7. So 5, 6, 7, 8 does add up to 26. 6 and value of 6 adds up to 12. 2 and value of 2 adds up to 4. 1 and 4 add up to 5. 6 and 8 add up to 14. 9 and 9 add up to 18. 4 and 4, which is that swapped, add up to 8. 3 and 9 add up to 12. 1, 2, that's swapped with this cell, so that's 1. 1, 2, 1, that's swapped with that cell, which is 1. So 1, 2, 1, 1 adds up to 5. 7 and this cell swap with that, so it's 6. It adds up to 13. We have 4 value. 2 is swapped to there, so that's 2. 9 is swapped to there, that's 1. And this is swapped to there, which is 3. So 1, 2, 3, 4 does add up to 10. So that should be the solution. And that is the solution. Very interesting. This the reorg is not very intuitive. At least, well, it's not intuitive for me. But obviously, I've never done it before. But I'm so much more used to like having just one cell, knowing that that has to be the swapper, but no, the sw or knowing that that has to be the changed digit essentially. But I'm not used to having a swapper be in these situations. So that was very interesting. Yeah, anyways, I hope you enjoyed this solve, and I'll see you next time on Frank Puzzles. Take care.